GM, wake up, let's go. Web 2, Web 3, stay in the know. Action, Dabatola, Toki in the zone. Breaking down the latest, straight to your phone. From Web 2 shifts to Web the waves. News, deep dives, hot takes for days. Tech's evolving, the world's in spin. Markets move, let's lock it in. Genzio's here, no time to snooze. Tune in now, get the news. GM. Wake up, let's go. Web 2, Web 3, stay in the know. GM, start the show. GM, wake up, let's go. Web 2, stay in the know. GM, start the show. GM, let's go. Web 2, stay in the know. GM, start the show.
GM, everyone, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to another morning stream. And with me, as always, is my man Toki. How you doing this morning?
GM, good sir. It's been quite the interesting morning so far, having covered literally RWA's stablecoins, some of the Genius Act, and it's been a pleasure. I'll say that much. There's a lot. There's a lot that's going on.
There definitely is a lot going on. I mean, what we also had, not really a surprise, but no movement in the Fed rate.
It's like we called it.
Yeah. so I mean, look.
Surprise. What about that Bitcoin price?
Oh well, we are just. We're holding pretty good. All right.
Which is literally also what we said yesterday, is that we're pretty much on par. We're basically amazing. We're gods. It's fine. We know what's going to happen. You just have to pay attention every single day to our show, and we'll help you get through the market. Sell all your altcoins for Bitcoin, and it won't go anywhere for a few days. And it's fine.
Well, GM, we already have a couple people jumping in on the comments. Derek here, and I see that there's a couple ones tokens worth looking at today, and we could pull up. But yes, SPX or SSP, isn't it SPX 6900? I need to see the market cap, but I was in on that early and then out of it. But I will agree, BTC is king. It is the leader. It drives. It sets the motion in place. And despite conflict, the Fed, crazy political news, just global economy and everything, we are still holding over 100,000 at 104 and change. And I think that's truly amazing. Now, alts, on the other hand, as we keep saying, are just, they're some of these are at their all-time low. And the thing is that even with Bitcoin at 104, if we see this move to 103 or 102, just briefly on some news and then come back up to 104, you're going to see those altcoins again take a step back. But I don't see them recover like Bitcoin. If Bitcoin drops a couple and then comes right back to where it was within, say, 48 hours, I don't see alts do that. I see that they just lose a little bit more each time. And I think as this happens, even with a lot of us, I think we start to get that way too. And we start leaning a little bit more on Bitcoin. And I know a lot more people who weren't DCAing into Bitcoin 3 months ago, 2 months ago, have actively been DCing into Bitcoin the past 2 months, and they're like, look, I'm out of the trenches. I'm not chasing any new L1s. I'm not running down some new projects or whatnot. I'm gonna take some time here and go into BTC because I believe in it for the long term. And I agree, and I think it's a wise move, and we're gonna see. And look at this. Wait, we got Golar. Good morning. And longed Sol, by the way. Let me take a quick look on the side here.
Okay, yes, it is XPX, by the way. I did find it.
Okay, we're gonna have to pull up share screen a little bit. We'll pull up the charts of both of those. But definitely I'm curious because he says is longing Solana. And we were talking about this. Someone kicked back some info to me, and they're like, we've noticed that if Bitcoin moves, makes a good candle, within 5 minutes you'll see that reaction in Solana. Like there's like a very, especially in all these in like war type of or conflict announcements, and people rode that from 140s to the high 150s, then shorted it back down, and now I just forgot, but I looked at it, it was at 140. What was it? 143, well 144, basically down a couple percent on the 24 hour. So still was just in the 140s there. So curious to see how that looks. Now, one thing that's a curveball, and I saw a couple tweets here in the news, was that the United States was thinking about actually striking that nuclear facility.
Ooh.
And the thing was, it wasn't like, well, we're going to, strike, and we think it's like, they're like, maybe we'll do it this weekend. It was like one of those. So
quite literally one of those, but it,
right. So how do you take that?
Bigger than I think most people are willing to admit, mostly because of where the site is. Like when we're talking about I believe it's called Fodrau nuclear site that they're focusing on, that is literally in the mountain. Like we're talking about mountain face, in through the mountain, down underground. There is quite literally only one nation in the whole entire world who has the means to destroy that nuclear facility. And that's us. Only because the United States has created the bunker breaker, which is an absolutely...
Is it bunker breaker or bunker buster?
Or they have both? It may be called the bunker buster. You're probably right on that one. Either way, it goes
into bunkers and F's shit up.
Quite literally, the way that it was designed is it has a super reinforced steel structure on it. That way it can break through different materials, such as like even reinforced concrete. Like they're trying to, like, if you want to use this, you're going to be basically trying to get as far underground as possible before this thing goes off. So it's just moving at
such a high speed with this reinforced, almost indestructible exterior cage as it just splits through concrete, stone, whatever's in its path until, I guess, it gets to where it needs to go before it
detonates. Yeah. It's a very intense measure to be taking, because if you use that, that's basically just saying like, yeah, no, we're okay with going to war with you. We're okay with destroying all your nuclear capabilities. Well, because that is what they'd be doing. They'd be destroying essentially all of Iran's nuclear capabilities in one fell swoop.
So if we're at 104, let's say 104 and change of Bitcoin like we are right now, right? And this happens over the weekend. Do you see us going into Monday where we were talking about if there's some big news that happens, something could pull us, like the United States could pull Bitcoin down towards that 100K, or we could float or possibly flirt into those 90s?
I do think that the U.S. entering the conflict in such a manner would absolutely be pulling us down, because how else is the global market supposed to take and act like that?
Well, I don't. Not even the global market, like the sentiment here, just like in the United States. So you would think that Trump whatever he does would have every one of his supporters backing, all the moves that he has. But you know what? Some of the loudest voices, at least that I've seen in social media, especially the ones within the state that I'm in, Texas, and the Republicans, are all speaking out against us getting involved in any conflict and very, very against it. So I think that the tone is extremely high against this, and therefore the markets
first campaign.
Well, I think the markets are going to react hard. I think if it was reversed and most of the people were for it, I think that the markets, to be honest, here wouldn't be as volatile on something happening. Mm-hmm. But with everyone saying no, and knowing how the economy's been, knowing what we've been dealing with inflation over the last year or so, no matter what side you're on or independent, I think pretty much against this happening, and it would have a very bad effect on markets. And we just know globally, nobody wants to see this happen.
No. I mean, even right from the start of this whole entire event, no one wanted the U.S. to be back in the Middle East for another conflict. Like that's been the talk. Is even troops as a whole are not excited about the potentials of there being another Middle Eastern conflict like this. Like that's not where we want to be. That's not where we want to go back to. We just got out of that area as a whole, more or less. And to think that there is such a place in time where like that's going to be a possibility again so soon. The only reason that this is so frustrating. The only reason that I even see it as a possibility is because they're talking about a nuclear site. And because the world as a whole wants to avoid nuclear war at all costs.
Well, not to be selfish for once here, but yeah, I don't want it for the sake of not just, human life and not having war, but like I tweeted the other day, we don't want war. We want our bags to pump, right? Bitcoin's up. People who hold Bitcoin are doing well. Everyone else is saying, come on, you're pro crypto. Administration's pro crypto. We got the Genius bill or act or whatever now forward. Trump tweeted about becoming the digital assets capital of the world, mm-hmm. and wanting to pass stuff fast. Like, come on, let's now. You know what? We're already in June, right? Like, I want to see those markets pump again, like it was November, December, and into January, and keep going. And we need to stop conflicts, wars, things like that. We need to get focused here on how we fix our economy a bit, let the institutions keep coming in, figure out some sort of way that we could change the sentiment, the feeling just on, and somehow do something so people could feel like they're making or their money's going further. You know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people that worry about their next mortgage payment, for example. They're not going to be investing
at all.
Payment, right, for the next month. So we need things freaking out here. Are we back?
You froze right when you said, oh, wow, okay.
All right, well,
you're good now. You're good.
but you get what I'm saying, right? So anyways, I just want to see economy start turning around. I'd like to see retail come in. I'd like to see the people who are already in now really benefit. I mean, a lot of people are heavy on alts, and I'd like to see them do well, and they're just struggling. So everything in the world affecting this. So all right, so let's just touch on a couple things, because this morning I don't think there was any big news, and talking about the war and all that is pretty depressing. But so we touched just about the Genius Act. So for those who haven't seen that, it's basically bipartisan Genius Act that was cleared by the Senate, and this is a federal regulations, and they require stablecoins to be fully backed by liquid assets and have regular audits. So now we're going to probably see an explosion in that market, and they predict close to $2 trillion over the next decade. And that's a lot of money just to go into stables. So if you look at what the crypto market is right now, or the market cap of Bitcoin, if you think if that's going to go into stables, right? Then what if that's just for stables? What do we think the rest of the greater crypto market is going to be a market cap? I could see it being much, much higher than that. And if Arthur Hayes by any means is right that at Bitcoin's $1 million in the next 3 or so years, then obviously the market cap will be much higher. But also the one thing that I saw and I looked up and found some info was that the bill itself did not extend the ownership to the president or vice president, right? So this
correct
is starting to draw some criticism because of his stake in, what is that? His stablecoin, or USD1? Yeah. So and other ventures. So while we still do have this, there's some people that are questioning it. We already know, and I've said it multiple times, that we know that the administration and clearly the Trumps have, benefited and made over $1 billion in crypto in such a short time, and here. But you're going to see lots of people, I think, take advantage of this time period where we're starting to accept and adopt and try to get framework. So you know what? Yeah, honestly, there's nothing I don't think much you're going to do about it. But all of us who are in, I think we're going to also kind of get grandfathered in. I bet you there's a lot of people out there who have crypto, and during this period and during this cycle are somehow going to end up withdrawing or off ramping and probably not even paying full tax obligations, and nothing probably comes of it. Right. And they probably don't even get the proper paperwork from a lot of the sites and exchanges that they interact with, and can't even act on it. And a lot of that stuff I could see getting cleared up to a certain degree, in years to come. So I think everyone is going to get a pass in their own way. But yeah, that sort of encompassed, though, the Genius Act, and then that part where there's a little bit of criticism, but I mean, you're not going to please everyone. I don't know. So you got anything else on that Genius Act?
So that was actually one of the things that I was talking about this morning while we were talking about stable coins, mostly because, again, it is all about stables, but also just the sense of, like, what are going to be the next steps? Because we're looking at this in the sense of, this is going to help with a lot of transparency. This is going to help with a lot of, like, the unity across the different states. We're looking at the fact of, like, larger issuers as a whole are going to have to be federally reviewed versus any of the other ones. I believe it's 10 billion or less was the key number. They're going to be state regulated. So, like,
okay,
there's going to be, like, a bunch of different parts and pieces as we continue to level this up, and I'm very interested to see where the divides come in and who those larger issuers are, and how they're going to be regulated by the federal government. Because the state side of it, we're seeing some really good progress, like Wyoming, Texas, Florida. That's just to name a few of them. But right off the bat, like, they have something in progress. They have something that's already made that they're working on, and it's like a continuation of what they've been working on since then. The federal government doesn't really have anything in regards to anything crypto. So I want to see what they are going to say about these quote unquote larger issuers that are exceeding the $10 billion number, because we know that they're going to be out there, but who are they? And why are they getting the opportunity to be the issuer? And what are they going to necessarily be issuing out at such a level? Because to exceed $10 billion, what are you doing?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you got to think about all the businesses or all the big business that operates that have valuations of 10 billion or more, I would say, in order to transact like that.
But
And even if you're a custodian, I mean, you're talking big business, and if there's multiple, there might be a couple, I would think, that touch upon it, but I think that it could get watered down enough where you don't hit that number. I don't know.
Like, that just, to me, that seems like a very 10 billion is a lot.
But hold on a second. What did we say they saw the market cap to be in the next 10 years? 2 trillion. So 2 trillion, I mean, 10 billion is not, it's not as much anymore when you look at a 2 trillion total market cap. So in 10 years, if we get there, then I'm sure this is going to be encountered, you know?
I mean, even right from the start, I think of it in the sense of, like, let's just say each state gets their own stable coin. So, like, right off the bat, 50 different stable coins, and let's say they max out at $10 billion each. Okay. Or is it that the state itself is going to be the ones that are issuing these larger amounts, the greater than 10 billion, to handle all the different budgets that are associated with their state?
Well, and
then all the individual businesses below that can then do stable coins, like a state-run bank, or like a state-run, like those types of things.
It is possible, because when you have big banks talking about starting their own private chains and different things like that, then it wouldn't be out of the realm for, a Bank of America specifically to have that. And even though that they probably can transact over 10 billion, but they're on a local level, that, like, they might just do both.
Right? Like, that would make sense if you're only looking at, like, a local board. Let's say you're just, like, talking about,
because you have local, you could have regional, like, I'm just saying, as far as, like, within the state, right?
Absolutely.
So they could have that within the state, split up everywhere, and be running their own stable, as well as then interacting with other branches and divisions outside of the state that could be also. This is where you get into, like, I would say it's almost similar with companies and subsidiaries, where then that's another budget because it's another state of 10 billion above or below or something.
I'm also thinking in a sense of, like, you could peg those coins together then. Like, let's say that you have Bank of America Pennsylvania, Bank of America New Jersey. You could in my mind, quite literally just peg them together, so that way they're always going to be the same amount. And then when you're transferring funds between the states, like, you could essentially do it that way if you are topped out at the $10 billion number.
So I saw something in the comments that has been eating at me, and I want to pull up.
Yeah, go for it.
And Caleb had said, so Elon is planning to launch trading on X. Sorry, this has been itching at me, because I saw a few things similar to this, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's this next evolution? So have you heard anything about what Caleb mentioned there in the comment?
I have indeed. Let me go to one of the people that may be arguably more knowledgeable than I am. So one of my favorites to check out, especially when it comes down to things being launched, basically like right away on X, is Alex Finn, and he actually started. Let me pull this up here, and then
if X is like, looks like it's on that roadmap or path to be kind of like Kareem or Grab is, as far as in foreign countries, where it's one app to do it all. Like, bro, you're gonna open X and you're gonna be able to trade, do social media, order food, like, watch, like, almost every single thing. All right, so here we go. Alex Finn posted.
Yep. So X will be introducing stock trading and investing. Essentially, X is becoming a bank. They already do payments. They already have a lot of the financial system kind of like congregated on the back end, and now they're just bringing it to the forefront. with all the stock spaces that have been going on, with all the fact of like how much of the releases are coming out on X, how much of the live data that is being done on X on the day-to-day, it has just made sense to make this transition into being able to trade stocks on X.
So if they do this, so if you have stocks and if they did something where also crypto, let's say stocks then leads to crypto, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be so stoked when I see this story one day where it shows some random person who had barely any money but had an X account that got monetized and then got a payment or two or three and got $100, $200 and put it into some sort of token and flip it into like, a couple $1 million or something like that. Essentially going from I signed up for X and I became rich, like one of these things where, but like, this is the first thing that, look, Black Jay said, stocks and not crypto, laughing. Like, I would think that
there's not the regulatory framework yet. There's not the regulatory framework yet for X to go and put out something as such as crypto as well. Stocks, there's already a lot of financial information.
There's already a lot of, but they're a big company in there, and it wouldn't make sense. Like they could provide liquidity to a DEX and
well, think about it this way.
There's like, lots of stuff that could happen.
One of the points that I want to make sure you understand this, it's also the X credit, means you get a line of credit and a debit card.
Well, that's
they're
what
mixing
I saw before
in
the trading.
Different parts and pieces of this first and foremost. So that way, this is almost like getting to your bank before you can get in touch with talking to the exchange on certain things.
So like, I saw about the X debit card thing yesterday or the day before, but I didn't see about the trading part yet. So I'm wondering if that's kind of all in one or what the deal is. You know what I mean? But if you're going to be trading first and then the card comes, or if we could get the card first, because look at all the cards that are launching, and if X is essentially becoming a bank and they're paying out revenue and things, they could go on the model where, all right, we have you, we pay you. Do you want a card? Yes, I want a card. Okay, well, do you want us to load your creator's revenue directly to your card? And so, but that's I wonder how fast X tends to roll things out pretty fast, but what they always tend to do when they roll things out fast is just keep breaking spaces over and over and over again. So hopefully we'll get trading and spaces will still be good.
I am not convinced that X is in any way worried about spaces. Like no. It doesn't seem like it's going to be anything that's on their forefront, and they know people are going to continue to use it. So
you would just think that like all the compute power and all the storage and all the facilities that Elon has and that they're doing and everything they're doing for AI,
which one makes them more money?
Be like, but they would just be like, you know what? I feel bad for these people. Like, let's just give them like one more rack mount over there,
Yeah.
But no, it's all right. They're probably like, let's rug them and then have them go and trade within the app instead.
That's the way to do it. Dialing it in.
As long as it doesn't turn into pump fun, which they got their X back. And there's a few people shut down that day. And then within 24 hours, they got it back. I don't know if the founder, I'm assuming the founder did too. So
I did not check, quite frankly. Oh yeah, coin we're gonna bring up SPX 69.
You want to pull up some charts?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, you pull up SPX, or do you want me to? Hold on, let me see something before we screw it.
Here you go.
You got it?
Yep.
All right.
So this is the 1 month. So if you're at the monthly, if you bought in, you're killing it. Up 83, almost 84% in a month. Holy crap. Congratulations.
What was it? Let me go back. I'm trying to see what its all-time high was here. 168, somewhere around there. Oh, wow.
79? No, 172.5. That was on the 11th.
Oh, wow. So the one thing that's really, really moving outside of Bitcoin holding and, popping up on occasion here in the last couple of weeks. So SPX, that's not bad. That's been around for a minute too. Where are we at, like, over the last, let's say,
here's 7 day.
Do the yearly. Let's see. Look at that. Look, if you got in right before it started taking off and before there was hype in the fall, look, go a little bit forward. Go to like October. Or like, yeah, just right on that candle on the bottom of it in October. What is that? About 25 cents. So yeah. I want to say second or third week of October. What was there's this AI agent started to come out. I forget what Maximus, Goat Maximus or whatever it was. It was like the first to market to move. And right around that time, a bunch of these tokens had either launched or started to get some attention, right? And look at that. If you would have got in at like between that cent and 25 cent, right on the cusp on the fall there, if you were really, really early, you would have 130x today.
Well, that's the thing. You don't even need to be early. Like, here's this one right here where it's down in the.
It's still performing range. Better than.
And then you could just go over here and you could have picked it up for 30 cents.
Dude, 30 cents to a 4x, like from 30. You know what I mean? A 4x is still great. I could probably look at the majority of my altcoins right now where they're at, and they probably didn't 2x. If anything, some of them are down.
Maybe they went,
down more than that.
Yeah.
Bitcoin and this, and there's a couple. I think look at that's doing better than my Farcoin. You know what? Pull up Farcoin in there and see what that one looks like. I'm curious because I think they had in the last month a pretty big listing, but it was one of the only like meme tokens that was moving when most of the trenches were kind of dead. So what we got? It peaked a little over 2, and it's over $1 now.
Yeah,
hit $1. I mean, the chart isn't bad at all. I mean, yeah, it dipped down in March, just like in April. Everything did too. So, hold on a second. I'll address this one. I wish you would get behind Kulu again. The team is pushing the project. Hard times, but it'll pay off. I haven't talked to anybody from the team in a while, and haven't really been paying attention just because of, it was Polygon, and then they launched another chain, and there's a bunch of other tokens. But you know what? Hit me up in a DM or a comment, and
is there a different pool?
Bring me up to speed. I think it's on ETH as well now. But yeah, bring me up to speed and tell me what's cooking. And, I'm always down to revisit and stuff. And, you're a big supporter of the stream and everything that we're doing. So yeah, shoot me a message and we'll see what's cooking with them.
Community sentiment's pretty bullish.
There you go. So maybe there's something. Maybe they what's it called? What's the word? They brought it in. They had a huddle there or something, and now it's game plan and execution time. Solana for Golar with his long. So
yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. What's gonna happen with that long?
I think he keeps them open. What he said, weeks. Somebody was saying they were keeping over weeks and not necessarily days. But I mean, look, if you could close a trade quite quickly if you making some money and that something's going to change.
It's true.
So what we were saying, remember we were saying just earlier in the news with Trump saying, maybe this weekend kind of routine. So if you have a long here, not financial advice, if something like that was to happen this weekend, I don't know if a long is going to make money, right? Wait, look at it. Wait. Not closing still. And the thing
Golar,
all right. here's the thing: if you're not over leveraged, and your liquidation, you're not going to get stomped out, and it's like, say it's 94 or something like that, I would feel pretty safe if it took a hit down to 102 or 101 and then came back up. If you're going to have the trade open for a few weeks in the long run, you probably inch back up. But if shit was to get pretty gnarly this weekend, and you're playing with high leverage, it might go the other direction. You might quickly hear about something in the news, and I might be running to my computer for a short.
I want to know what kind of leverage we're talking about here. Is it like 4x, 8x? Are you doing like a nice fun 500? Like,
no, a Mexi 500 to 1,000? No, I don't know. I mean, usually I'm like 7 to 10x in that range. If I'm going to go with trying to like keep something open longer, and then I might go a little bit lower, and then I could always add later. But I haven't been really trading, but now I'm getting the itch with with how these chops have been based off of certain news, and knowing that major news events in the last few months have not totally crushed Bitcoin like we've seen in the past. So it just holding and defying that volatility is making me want to trade, because I see opportunities on the shorter term. And I'm not in the trenches with Memecoins, so I got to do something. Yeah.
So Galar is on MXC, so he's probably doing that 500.
Oh, he's 500xing it.
Yeah. Good luck.
Shame on you.
It'll be the stop loss.
I can't believe when they announced that 500x. Then there was something about wanting to do 1,000x. Like,
is that real?
I feel like
is it actually
real? I feel like I read a parody account or something. You're gonna Google right now?
Hell yeah.
Or ChatGPT it. It's like, is MEXC offering 1,000x leverage? I don't know who's in the chat or in the comments, but if you had access to 1,000x leverage, would you test it out? Would you throw $5 at it and hope that it didn't go down 3 cents and stomp you out? Would you hope that you like flipping a coin, it just happened to hit and go up a little bit? On the $1, $5, $10, I probably would. See, look at there's 1,000x on Rollbit. Yeah, I'm actually not on there. So Black J, do you mess with the 1,000x? Have you thrown a few at it? And if you hit on something like that, you catch one of these candles, I could just see that, like, eyes going wide and then just wide open, and the addiction sets in.
That just feels like a game. That's got to be a game.
That's what. Yeah, it's a casino. That's the casino.
It looks like MXC is still maxing out at 500.
Only 500.
And then
I love this.
Yeah, for the BTC and the ETH perpetual futures, it looks like up to 250x.
Look at this. It's like, never tried it. Gary, start, boom. Exactly. It's like you click for the trade, and by the time you release your finger, you're stomped out. You're just donating it half clicks. Like, oh, money gone. Okay, look, I would toss 5 on it for 3.5 seconds that it would take to get wrecked. I'm sorry. So when we got rugged in Denver on the meme coin, and it was $100 we threw in, that was for like 5 minutes of time. So that was a little bit more affordable than $5 to get stomped out in a couple seconds. I'm just trying to see what's more what was more value. What would we provide more value or entertainment value? We're gonna.
I think the video of you clicking it and you being like, "No way, it's gone," it would be pretty amazing.
It would be a short that's extra short. But we got to get. Speaking of short, we got to get action. I hope he's watching. We got to get action to share the video that's months old now from Denver, when we all got rugged live, being filmed, rugged, having a good time, laughing our asses off, and honestly, that's what a lot of this is about. Of course, we want to make money. Of course, people came for financial gain, but you got to have fun.
There's a funny video of me getting rugged on YouTube. Actually, It was live. I got rugged live. I was on Down Home Cryptos. We were doing a Memecoin trading thing, and I found a stepper, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get out of it before they rug everyone," and I did not get out of it in time.
Oh,
and I got rugged instead. And I was like, "Dang it!" It was actually a really good time. That was so funny.
Look, some of the times I've lost money have even though hasn't been substantial, so that's probably why, has been some of the most fun too, because it's been in like the situation like Denver getting rugged, and as much as I don't know, as much as I'm here to try to make gains and everything, I've met so many amazing people and I've connected at so many events with them that it's about the community and about having fun. So if you're not here and you're not having fun, then you're not doing it right. The whole goal is to have fun and to make some money. And if you're really a builder and into the tech, obviously part of that for you is to build and to push that envelope forward. And for those that aren't active builders like that, we will help push that forward because we're here early adopting and trying to share that information. So, yeah, no, it's just, it's great. Today, it looks like we're having a ton of people that showed up. It looks like on X and a bunch on YouTube. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Just want to quickly remind you, please, to smash that thumbs up, to reshare, drop a comment. Also in the description, there's a link tree. There's a link for free Telegram if you want to jump in there and BS. Everyone talks about just about whatever, but it's all positive, supporting each other, trying to, clue each other in on new tokens or strategy or news or whatnot. But it's really about the community. So feel free to jump in there. The link's on the link tree and in the description. And yeah, but I mean, it's Thursday already. Now with all this conflict in the world, I'm just curious what's going to end up happening by the weekend and where it's going to take our prices. I am and I think like most people have really been impatient and on the edge of our seat, wanting just the whole crypto market in general to show some life and move. And although we've gotten Bitcoin to this amazing price of over 100K, I think everyone's getting content with that. Like, as amazing as that is, everyone's just sort of like, all right, like, when's the new all-time high now? Like, right? So this weekend's...
I think there is some of that, but I feel like there's also a good portion of people where they're still expecting it to go back down. They're still expecting some kind of pullback because, like,
summer pullback.
It tends
sad summer.
It does tend to be a thing, but also let's think about it in the sense of when we've seen Bitcoin roll up so fast in the past. There's almost always been some kind of event or thing that brings it back down. Just gives it like some kind of a nice enough correction to put it back into like the comfort zone. But right now there hasn't really been anything. This is probably the most major event worldwide that has quote unquote brought down the Bitcoin price.
But to play a little bit to that, if this would have happened a few years back, it would have affected the price much harder.
Oh yeah,
and for a lot longer. There's just the thing that is hurting me about this cycle a little bit is retail, is friends, family, and people that I know that I'm saying to them, because I'm in the space and I've been fortunate to made some money and have been invested and been here a while, but I'm saying like, look at, things are going to be changing in the future. This is the way it's going. Like, I feel like this is like your last opportunities, to get in before there's full on regulations, things get, more stable or whatnot. Like, I think that, hey, we're here early thing is still relevant. So I'm trying to say, hey, look at when there's blood in the streets, you need to buy. That's when you're making your generational wealth, right? Like that's the time, like you have to. And everyone I know is just like, I wish I had some money. And you know, there's like 1 or 2 people that hit me up that happen to have some money saved on the side, right? That are like, what do I do? I see you and hear you talking about Bitcoin, right? But everyone else I know is not going out on fancy, you know, dinners or vacations or whatnot. They're just trying to make sure they're paying their bills, taking care of their family, and doing their thing. If they could save, it's a little bit of money they're saving, and they're putting in a savings account. They're not putting into something that they're not sure how easy they could get it back out. You know what I mean? Something, because they're not familiar with crypto. They've never done it. It's just like if they've never done stocks, they're probably not going to just throw a little bit that they're trying to save in. But look at, see, like this is completely right with Caleb saying the time to DCA. If you get them to make that first move and you say, you know what, even if you do $10 a week, just something, right? Because if Bitcoin 2x's, 3x's in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, $10, even though 10 is 20 is still twice as 10 as much as you originally had to begin with, right? So if you could DCA that in, why not? And I agree. But retail, in my mind, the retail that I know, just not having, is not confident enough or doesn't have enough funds on hand to feel confident to invest. And I even on the DCA tip, I don't know many that are. I don't know. What about the people around you in your circle, and how do you feel about retail? Same thing?
I feel like a lot of the retail around me aren't very interested in what's going on with crypto right now. They're more so trying to they're more so just trying to figure out, is it even okay to invest right now? A lot of people are living still paycheck to paycheck. So when it comes down to the money they do have, they're trying to figure out where they want to spend it, where they want to put their time, their effort. Yeah, no, there needs to be something where retail has a chance, because right now, sure, you can say that retail has gotten multiple opportunities, but the opportunities may have been presented, but there also isn't like a lot of money out there. It all kind of got leaked out during the meme coin phase. Like there's just,
retail's not confident, is most invested into their alts, and their main goal right now is to break even at this point.
Yeah. No,
that's a factual statement. I think just about the majority of the people we know who have alts are down on their bags. There's a few exceptions, like, you know, there's a lot of people dogged on Caspa, but that came in the bear market, and if you would have got in anytime within like the first 6 months to a year, you killed it. So, but what else we got? Retail's never going to buy till their pension tells them.
There's a possibility.
We have a few people that are trying to get out of their job, to get to their 401k, to get to their retirement funds, to then move it over to, you know, like IRAs into iTrust and other places. I don't know. I mean, I did that on switching my job. What was it? 2 years ago when I left, and then I put it in, and it's already performed. The 401k did not. That money's up a bit, but it was pretty heavy in alts. And then the IRA that I have is actually 2x'd. So it's done a lot better than I would have if I would have just put it into a standard. It would have only made like $500 in the course of
And that's the crypto Roth IRA that you're talking about, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So hold on 1 second. All right, there we go. Let me see. So what else did we have in the ticker of news that we didn't necessarily get to? Because I know we talked about the Fed, definitely the conflict. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here of major importance. I know there was the hack. We touched upon that with that, but that was, I guess, kind of tied into the conflict because Israeli
it was Israeli backed, yeah.
It was Israeli backed, taking 90 million.
Yeah, so initially it was reported as 45 million, and now they're coming out saying that it's 90 million. Another person stated that could be upwards of 115 million. So I'm not sure what the actual number is going to be recorded in history as, probably closer to the 90 million feature. But even still, they're saying that that was part of the infrastructure of Iran as a whole. So it's weird to think. Weird to think that so much crypto. About it, yes. But man, if they want to say that that exchange and everything that's going on there was so central to Iran's development, I mean, there is that potential. More and more countries are using it on the day-to-day crypto on the day-to-day. So it's not unrealistic that that money could have been used and was being used for their infrastructure and their military as a whole. Now, how can we say that for sure on our side? Probably can't. But hey, that's what the what was the name? Predatory swallow or something like that?
Yes, something along those lines.
No, but that's what they're
translated
saying.
To. Yeah. You know, the one other thing I saw, I don't know if it got much coverage that I thought was sort of interesting, but so Bitcoin was involved in a scandal with the Czech government. And I believe the prime minister there, so there was a vote, but it was tied to a $40 million Bitcoin donation, right? But the Bitcoin donation was linked, I believe, to some criminals, right? So the minister or the justice minister from the country actually resigned over the controversy. So it's interesting to see sort of the scandal aspect of it in this, but a criminal, I guess, tried to move or donate 40 million in Bitcoin. And I wonder if they're like,
here it is.
You know, like,
so,
all right, well,
yeah, the
prove
Czech,
this.
the Czech government barely survives a vote of no confidence against them. There was a donation of 468 Bitcoin valued at $45 million to the Ministry of Justice by a convicted criminal, Thomas Jaworski, something like that, who operated the dark web marketplace, Sheep Marketplace. So now the Justice Minister, has resigned. There was again, the vote of no confidence against the government as a whole, which they barely survived. And it seems like there's still an ongoing investigation. It looks like the actual prime minister, Peter, barely survived. But Pavel Blazek was the justice minister, and he has
Pavel, and I think Telegram. I get so mad. Sorry.
But he was definitely the one that resigned at this point in time. But now the nation's police are going after an organized crime unit, or they are working with the organized crime unit to go after this manor because of who the criminal was.
Look at this.
Yikes.
Free Ross day one. I don't have that shirt on. Yes, Whitefire, the one sex on Iran that got hacked. Yep, that was the 90 plus million that they're saying is tied to the government, and that's why Israel said it was okay to I guess to hack it. Well, we are actually getting close to the top of the hour. To be honest with you, did not think I would make it all stream. I really haven't slept much in a day. I actually
got the rest of the details on that.
On what?
So there's way more to the story in regards to the Minister of Justice and how.
So they it's passed now a little bit more. Let's hear this.
So Thomas, the creator of Sheep Marketplace, was involved in a quote-unquote exit scam and was recently released from prison. He handed over the 468 Bitcoin from the Sheep Marketplace that he had created to the actual Czech government as a gift.
Oh.
Yeah, so he gave it to the government as a whole. The minister, the justice minister, went forward with that gift and sold the Bitcoin at auction. So because the Czech government actually sold the Bitcoin, they legitimized and laundered all the funds that he used in the process.
Yeah.
Because it was given as a gift to the government.
They didn't check it. They just processed it or whatever.
They just went happy days with it. That's crazy.
The government indirectly but directly washes the money.
You have to wonder, did they indirectly wash that money, or did they know that they were directly washing that money?
The ministry guy said that he resigned. So probably what will come further from this is the inside, the insiders that were trying to make it happen, or you know what I mean, that trying to get it to go under radar or whatever. But the thing is, that's I mean, look, we support Bitcoin and crypto like everyone here is tuned in. This is our lives. This is our lives, right? But I think any business, government, or anywhere that you go to, if you're like, hey, I'm going to give you a gift, and they're like, okay, and it's millions of dollars in Bitcoin, like 99% of them are not going to even know how to be able to take it at first. There's like, it's like the most absurd way to probably try to launder your money publicly to through giving it to a company, but it worked because I guess I don't even know what stupidity. I don't know. Or like I said, maybe there was somebody on the inside that was trying to slide this through, and there's no issues. And then there was, but
I'm reading in the deeper section. So while he started the sheep marketplace, which is a black web or dark web marketplace, the money, the actual funds, were sent from a different dark web that was shut down called the Nucleus market. So now they're trying to figure out where those funds and what was going on there, because that one shut down, that marketplace shut down the same day that Jirovsky was arrested. So they may have actually just laundered all of those funds, and there's no way that he could get charged. I'm guessing there wouldn't be a way for him to get charged on that one because they accepted the gift and used all the funds from it.
Well, I mean, I don't know how, outside how their law works to here, but I mean,
it's fair. It's fair. It is the Czech Republic.
So at the end of the day, who gets to keep all the money? Do they get to keep the donation? What happens to it? Is it going to be like, do they have to just get rid of it? I don't know.
It's interesting because they're still keeping the money.
I wonder what.
And then Thomas is still in charge of. It looks like 96,000 Bitcoin. 96,000.
Holy.
He holds 96,000 Bitcoin.
That's Where is that? Hold on, I'm gonna see before we close this out. There was a tweet, and
that's crazy.
So there was a there was a tweet. Basically, was saying if you have 0.001 Bitcoin, you're in the top 50%. If you have 0.01 Bitcoin, you're in the top 25%. 0.1 Bitcoin, so that's like 10 grand, right? Or 10 and change. You're in the top 10%. If you're a whole coiner with 1 Bitcoin, you're in the top 2%. If you held 10 Bitcoin, you're in the top 0.08%. 100 Bitcoin, 0.000091%. And then if you have 1,000 Bitcoin or more, you're in the 0.0000065%. So even in a whole coiner, you're still in the 2%. I mean, you got to think when you have 21 million supply, a bunch lost. Yeah, he's in that you probably double or triple the amount of those 0.0s on that last one, right? If you're going to break it down even further. But just to show that, it's like, I think they said last year there was about 1,000 millionaires created a day, right? Last year. And if you think that if every person had a Bitcoin, that's only, and they became worth $1 million, that would only be, 21 million, right? So our chances of doing very well with even, that's why a lot of people are saying DCA in, even if you only have not even a whole coiner, you're still in the top 2%. That was like the point earlier making with when you DCA even with a small amount of money, because if you're getting a 2x or 3x, if this is money that you're not spending now and you could double it or triple it, it's still double or triple. It's same with Bitcoin. You invest and you have a whole coin right now at 100K, right? And then you're in the top 2%. I mean, this time next year, hopefully it's 2.
It's true.
But wow, definitely. I learned my psych. Look at everyone saying this. I learned my lesson. Next cycle, I'll be a BTC maxi. Everyone is saying that now. Look, I'm right there with you. I have alts that are down, and I'm really worried if they'll recover, to a break even. I am in that mind frame a little bit more on the, I'm glad I hold Bitcoin too. And I need to shuffle and readjust the portfolio more towards Bitcoin, but I'm not going to lose out on all hope. I think that there are a lot of good altcoins out there that are going to make moves, and we might just have to be, well, I think we're definitely going to have to be more patient. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer than we were all planning. So stay strong and stay in there. And, DCA on your conviction plays, and then hopefully you get to that break even sooner. That's what I'm doing on a few of them. Great. And there's a few ones that I'm still adding to bags that I believe in. Like I like SWE. I've said that recently, so that's been one I've been adding to more so. But it looks like we are at the top of the hour. I think we all have things to do and move on with the rest of our day. Let's hope that this Bitcoin red that I see on the chart here a little bit behind me, let's hope that gets green and goes up.
Yeah.
104. I don't like that.
For that
104.
One. Do you know what though?
Hey, what's up?
But it's not something Genzio is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a house.
How do you know we do not understand?
3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Rebecca's Genzio Media House.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us today.